Men in Black International is the Men in Black that should have never been made. Men in Black International stars Chris Hemsworth, Tessa Thompson, and Liam Neeson, along with a few other supporting characters as well. The film is, it's bad all around. There's no other way to cut it. It is a turd that you cannot polish to make it look any better than what it is. It is very hectic in terms of the plot, the pacing, the story, along with just kind of contrived acting from everyone involved. Chris Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson did have some pretty good chemistry in Thor Ragnarok, and it seems to have evaporated by the time this film was made, and it doesn't really make any sense why. You can tell that what they're trying to do is from the start, they're positioning Tessa Thompson's character as the Agent J or Will Smith's character from the original Men in Black movies, and it doesn't do a very good job with it. The film opens with Chris Hemsworth and Liam Neeson's characters going to the Eiffel Tower to stop an alien invasion. Something happens, and then it flashes forward to Tessa Thompson's timeline where she sees an alien and also sees some agents from Men in Black neuralizing her parents. The opening of the film, you can tell if they're trying to compare it to some of the back and forth banter that happens with Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones in the originals in terms of when they neuralize somebody and Will Smith is like, come on now, you got to give him a better memory. You can't give him that crappy memory like that. Here, redo it. Psst, hits him again and he gives him a better memory like he did with Edgar's wife in the first one when she thought someone was wearing an Edgar suit and, she saw an alien and they give her a good memory saying Edgar ran off and so on and so forth. Well, this film, they try to take some of that humor, but it doesn't really work. In fact, almost all of the jokes fall flat. And then once you skip ahead to Tessa Thompson's timeline, once she sees the alien, she spends the next 20 years or so of her life trying to track down and find the Men in Black. She's an excellent student. She goes to the FBI, the CIA, all these alphabet agencies, and she's hinting around that she wants to be in the alien division. They, of course, kind of kick her out, and she ends up being, of all things, a telemarketer, which no one wants to do. So she ends up hacking some satellites, locating that there's an unauthorized alien landing going on, which she then sneaks around and finds it surreptitiously. And none of the members of the Men in Black who are there see her, and she actually follows them to the headquarters where she pretends to be one of them and stumbles down in there. You see Frank the Pug again, and that's kind of cute. It's kind of catchy, but it's too little too late, and this is only 15-20 minutes into the film, and you can see where it's going from here. They skip ahead and don't really have any kind of training montages or anything like that. She's just given probationary status pretty much and sent over to London to work in the London branch, which in turn, once she's there, she meets up with Liam Neeson's character, kind of talks to her a little bit, sets her over to the side, and then she learns of the history between Liam Neeson's character and Chris Hemsworth's character, H and High T, and that they did save the world a couple of years ago. And now Chris Hemsworth's character has a god complex, so to speak. He really doesn't care what he's doing. He's like, I saved the world, that's it. And he's just pissing around doing whatever he can and whatever he wants to do and doesn't really want to be in Men in Black anymore, and you can kind of tell. So she ends up weaseling her way onto a mission to go take this alien prince out for a good time to the bar, maybe get a little leg or whatever he's looking for. They even have a couple jokes in the scene where he's trying to get her to dance, and then Chris Hemsworth is like, go on, dance with it, have fun. But it's a little bit much. And then two other aliens show up who were previewed earlier in the film, and they're the kind that can manipulate energy. Basically, any of the guns that MIB has doesn't do any damage to them. They just spin that energy and throw it back at them. They kill the contact, who ends up passing a little weapon or a little crystalline structure to Tessa Thompson's character, and they then go and get debriefed, so to speak, by IT back at MIB London. During the debriefing, Tessa Thompson's character kind of throws a Hail Mary and says that there's a mole inside MIB. That's how they ended up knowing where we are, that's how they came, and that's how they killed this guy. High T's like, that's a possibility, so I need you to go out there and kind of figure this out. Find the mole, do whatever. So they go out on this quest to try to track down some folks and see kind of what's happening. And they end up in a place where they find this small little alien. I don't know his name, but he's voiced by the guy that plays Dinesh in Silicon Valley. And he's kind of funny, but not really. It's one of those ones where they're giving him all the jokes and they really fall flat. He's a funny guy, but in this, because he's just doing voiceover work, it doesn't really make sense. The jokes are kind of out of place, and it's really not good at this point. You're just like, oh, please stop, shut up. Somebody put a little bit of duct tape over that guy's mouth so he'll stop talking. From there, they end up escaping a capture force that MIB had sent out to get them, fly off into the desert, wreck this little speeder bike or whatever that they have. And then while they're fixing it, another alien they had met along the ride that was hiding on the speeder bike steals the weapon and takes off to go sell it to an arms dealer. Once they get the bike fixed, you find out that H, or Hemsworth's character, actually has a relationship with this arms dealer. So he goes there, tries to sneak in, talk to her, and she realizes what he's up to. She captures him, but there's a kicker where her main bodyguard alien, or her assassin alien that she has, is actually the grown-up version of the little alien that Tessa Thompson rescued and set free at the beginning of the film. So he's like, okay, all right, I'll help you, Molly. And he gives the weapon to her, he lets them leave, and they go off to do whatever. And then the other two guys show up, the energy manipulating cats, and are end up killed by MIB, basically overloading their circuits from many directions, and poof, they go from there. So they get back, and then they're starting to dig around Tessa and Chris Hemsworth, and they kind of figure out, well, where is the weapon? Where's the information about the hive DNA that was in these twins? It's not there. It must be the mole. But who would have the authority to do that? It must be High T. Wow. So once they find out and discover who the mole is, they then decide they gotta go catch him. So he's moving off to the Eiffel Tower, which is where the film opened at, when Hemsworth and High T originally went over there to stop it. So once they get there, you find out that High T has been infected by the hive, and he's no longer the High T that we know of. And also, while they're riding up, Tessa Thompson's character starts quizzing Chris Hemsworth about what happened and about how they actually defeated the hive a few years prior, and discover that, oh no, he's actually been neuralized. That's why he's messed up. That's why he has this God complex. That's why he cannot function like he normally does. It's because he was neuralized by his partner. And they kind of lead up to that, but the neuralizer is used as a butt of a joke in a lot of this film. It's no longer this thing that you just don't willy-nilly spray around like in the first few Men in Black movies. There's several scenes where one guy tries to be quick and pull out his glasses and neuralize Tessa Thompson and Chris Hemsworth's character earlier in the film, when they think they might have been the mole, or they messed up because they let the alien contact die. So they get there and they bring this weapon out right at the point that High T is trying to open the wormhole, the portal, and allow the hive to come through onto the Eiffel Tower. Chris Hemsworth, H, has a conversation with him, trying to call him back. You're my friend, you're my father. And then he relents for just a brief moment, realizes his true self, passes the weapon to Chris Hemsworth, who then throws it to Tessa Thompson, who breaks that bad boy open and ends up shooting High T with basically a compressed blue star power, and just blasts him, destroying the wormhole, destroying High T, and ridding the world of the threat from the hive. Not very good, not very well written in terms of the story, and just kind of goes, doesn't really play in terms of what you're expecting or what you would have expected after the first Men in Black film. You know, the second and third one were kind of a little bit of a letdown based on the success of the first one, but this one doesn't even measure up to the second and third one. It's really something that should have been made regardless of who you have in it. So after that point, then M is promoted, or Tessa Thompson is promoted from a probationary officer with MIB to now a full-on MIB member. And Chris Hemsworth is then promoted to a probationary head of the London branch of MIB. And the film kind of ends there, thinking about possibility of them teaming up again as they go for a quick ride before leaving. It's It's a bad film all the way around. The only thing that is in it I find kind of decent is the chemistry between Tessa Thompson and Chris Hemsworth. There is a little bit there, but it's not really a high point like it was in Thor Ragnarok. It's more or less just something that kind of keeps the story going and keeps you slightly entertained when you're just wanting to beat your head against the wall with how bad everything is. The plot doesn't really stick with you, and it seems that they just kind of fumble their way through the story until they finally get to the point where, it's over, they won, they defeated the bad aliens, and the good aliens are happy with them for defeating them. I would not recommend this movie. It's basically dog shit. There's no other way to cut it, and it is kind of a blight on Chris Hemsworth, Tessa Thompson, even Liam Neeson's career in terms of doing this film. It was one of those ones that shouldn't have been made. They should have just left it at Agent J and Agent K, because Tommy Lee Jones and Will Smith are the men, so to speak. They're the men in black, and this one it just seems to be like a fan fiction parody of it. Thank you.